Hello, everyone. My my name is Procyon, and I will be
Battery
storyteller
fully
for this
charged.
evening as we continue with this perfectly normal, not sinister at all dinner party. And I'll be guiding this group of humans, and I'm sure it's fine. Definitely not sinister, and nothing bad has gone on. Let's begin by reintroducing our mortals, starting with Lava.
I am uh, Peppermint Primal, and I am playing Suava, who's currently probably not at all in any kind of pain, playing an instrument.
She's fine. Nico.
Sorry. Hi, I am Ignium Blood Mage, and I'm going to be playing Nico, who, I don't know. I don't know what Nico's going
he's having
through.
therapy.
He's having therapy, and he's just literally like beating a guy.
Quote unquote therapy.
No, and knowing me, no, not that kind of beat, but like literally just like whack. Not with a whip, with a spiked club.
That's one way to put it. I'm sure that's gonna be fine and not gonna come back later. Sasha.
Hello, I am Usurper 1872, and I am playing Sasha Jarvis, who is currently staring out a very tall window, hoping he does not fall to his death.
We'll see. Lucen.
Hi, I'm Blade. I am playing Lucen Hayes, and I am having a very spirited conversation with some guy that I'm not really sure I like.
I'm sure it's fine. Alonzo.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm playing Alonso, who is slowly, or actually rather rapidly, getting eaten by his own shadow, he thinks. And there's a bleeding stone in his pocket.
It's fine. It's all fine.
Perfectly normal dinner party.
Perfectly normal. So we will begin with Lucen, who right now is just standing in the now currently vandalized room of the Giovanni Manse. And as Marchettius destroyed the place, you kind of like stood there in awe, or not in awe, but more surprised. But as he
Caught off guard.
yeah, as he ran off and left you alone, and he's been gone for quite a while. Um, after a good maybe like third after a good or what do you do? Do you go looking for him, or do you?
Yeah, after if he's gone for maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so, I'm just gonna go. It's like, guess he's going that way. I'm gonna go follow him and find out what's going on.
Right.
I've collected my thoughts now a little bit.
And all right. So after you've taken a moment to collect your thoughts after the blasphemy and the like wanton destruction you've seen, you start to wander off looking for Marchettius, or Marchettis, looking for Marchettis, and you quickly get lost if you've never been in this place before. It's very easy to get lost in this dank and strange castle. But eventually, after you walk for who knows how long, a couple of soldiers actually approach you, and they lead you back to the dining hall, which you'll notice everyone's gone from the dining hall with the exception of Lord Giovanni himself, who sits and Marchettius, strangely, who both stand in the dining hall. Yeah. In fact, they look straight at you, and Marchettius says, "Lord Giovanni, he's the one. He's the one that committed the vandalism. I tried to stop him, but he was adamant."
Sir, I did no such thing.
He is. Giovanni takes a look at you and says, "Hmm." He looks at both you and at Marcellius, and says, "Hmm." And then he looks back at you with a more annoyed look. A look that's more annoyed than anything else. On his face, and he says, "Hmm. Why should I not tear your heart out where you stand and feast on your life's blood?"
Because I am an innocent man. And it would not serve justice to do so.
Why should I believe your words over the words of Lord Marcellius?
I know not of Marcellius, so I would not dare to impugn his honor, but I can only speak for my own. My word as a knight is my life. If my word cannot be trusted, then what am I?
Well, and Giovanni just gives a sigh and just says, "Fine, I'll let you live for now. But let's put it this way: I'll wait until after dinner to decide."
This is your place, my lord. Your decision. It is your decision to make.
I will say this, as I've not decided yet. Be sure not to go and be sure not to think you're going anywhere. You've no doubt seen that I have numerous guards here to keep you right where you are. So don't think of anything clever.
Of course not, my lord.
Then that we will switch back over to Wenceslas and Suava. So Suava, you're still playing, and Marquetti or not Marquetti, Wenceslas is still cheering and laughing, and he's actually continuing to cut you, but eventually it comes to a point where he takes the glass and just cuts you right across the neck and right across both your lips, and he'll say, I'm growing bored. I'm growing bored now."
She's probably not sure what to say at that point.
You just had your neck slashed. So, and then, but not long after that, a couple of the servants appear, and they say impassively, "Dinner is served," and one of them comes up to you and begins bandaging your wounds. Before any serious blood loss sets in, you feel weak. You feel somewhat weakened, but you haven't undergone serious blood loss. Just minor blood loss.
You know, as you do.
But they do bandage your wounds and keep you from losing more blood. And then they lead you back toward the dining hall where Lucen and Lord Giovanni are. And then we will switch over to Sasha and Lord Casimir. And let's see. So Sasha, you're just still sitting.
I thought I was
sitting.
standing.
Not standing. So yeah,
Oh.
you're sitting. Not sitting. Standing. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. You're still standing right on the edge of the window, just looking down. But you see something. You see something strange. You see one of the hosts that you have that you saw before, the one that was called Lady Demetra, seems like you can see she is savagely chasing one of the other guests you saw earlier. The one. the shepherd. So the shepherd is running for his life across the rooftops to be savagely chased by Lady Demetra, and Kesmir at this point chimes in saying, "Of course, savage simpletons, no imagination."
You kind of hold on to the window ledge and kind of lean out a little more so you can maybe get a better view. It's like, what? Why is she chasing him?
And Kesmir declines to answer that. He doesn't say anything at the moment aside from what he said before of just no imagination. And then let's see. And then eventually he says, Now it is thy time to leap into the yawning," as he smiles wickedly.
Wait, what? You kind of look backwards.
But after he says that, a servant appears behind him, saying, "Dinner is served." And Kesmir to that says, Kesmir to that smiles, or he continues smiling and says, "Perhaps thou mayest leave after dinner."
Right. Oh, whatever the century's equivalent of right is.
And at that note, or after that, you find yourself suddenly walking and following the servant, really before you even know what's happening.
I see.
And now we will, and you walk with Kesmir back and the servant back toward the dining hall as well. And then we'll switch to Alonso. Now, Alonso, you're still being held, but a while after you've had quite a while to be alone with your thoughts. So what are you thinking, by the way? You're trapped.
Well, yeah, it's scary, but also, can I try to reach for the thing in my pocket?
Yes.
I want to hold on to it while this is happening.
I will make that a strength. I'll make it strength athletics.
I do not have athletics.
So just strength then.
197.
Okay, that is 2 successes. Well, actually 1, because you got a 1. So, that is enough to move your hand closer, but not actually grab the stone. It's like tantalizingly out of reach. Maybe like half of, maybe like 6 inches or so out of reach.
I gotta touch it. Well, I'm also feeling like kind of weirdly happy that this is all real and I didn't go insane. And maybe someone can tell me what happened to me that whole year I'm missing. But also,
If you go
what
insane,
the hell is going on? Yeah, I could. No, yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, I'm gonna rationalize it and say I am not going insane. This proves I was never insane.
But eventually, a servant does appear to you. And as soon as the servant appears, the shadow suddenly disappears, and you find yourself released. The stone at this point, after the shadow's gone, has stopped bleeding.
Ooh, okay.
And then the servant says to you, "Dinner is served."
Okay, where's the old guy who did this to me? Nowhere to be seen.
He walked off. Like after he did that, he walked right off. He haven't seen him since.
Okay, I've
Like,
been
okay,
alone.
I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah, I'm alone. I've been alone with my thoughts. An awesome
Yeah.
place to be. Okay, shaken. I'll go back into the main room for dinner then.
All right. And then we will switch over to Nico. Nico, you're still doing the torture. So I believe last time you were stabbing him with, I believe, a morning star.
I wasn't stabbing him, I just took a spiked club and I was basically doing the whole literally gently putting it along his skin and then just beating him in random places. Basically, I treated this like a riding crop.
And Mieczyslav's just standing there and says, there are more creative tools here. Use one of the more creative ones. He offers like several of the other ones, like whip, knives, swords, that kind of thing.
Go with the whip, because again, I'm gonna just go with the whip.
Okay, the whip that he has is one of those, like, well, not whip, flail, or so it's got the edges are spiked,
Oh.
and he says, "Oh, that's an interesting tool. Go ahead." Now, I'm assuming you're not wanting to kill him, right?
The whole goal is not to kill. It's literally just to do that. Like he doesn't want to kill this guy. If this guy is like some type of enemy, then he's like, all right, if you say so, and just whack. Like,
okay. All right. So as you continue to, as lightly as is possible to look like you're doing it with intent, but not trying to kill. So as you continue to inflict the torture, the victim still continues to scream out in pain and profess his innocence. I'm gonna need you actually to make another conscience roll.
you do that.
That is, hang on. So you should see virtues, right?
Okay.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Actually, for you that'd be conviction. You don't have conscience. So yeah, that's 3 dice for you.
Okay.
And I believe if you go to dice, you can just roll it directly.
Let me see,
Yeah.
Let me see. Main dice, initiative, combat dice, custom dice. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Okay, so you managed to convince yourself that in the current situation that you're in, you have no choice but to do this. So as your conviction drives you forward, you continue along the path of torture until eventually one of the servants shows up. Doesn't really seem to like pay any attention to the torture going on, and just says, "Dinner is served." And Lord Mieczyslav just looks somewhat dejected and says, "Well, I suppose it's enough entertainment for now. Let us go to dinner then."
He puts it down, but he's just gonna like casually ask, "What is it that he did?"
I said he's a spy for my enemies.
What sort of enemies are in a place like this?
He gives a smirk and says, "Well, certain annoyances, we'll say."
And reminds me of the annoyance of when I literally did not find the proper paintbrush to paint something.
Not exactly the same thing, but close enough.
It's still close.
All right, let's see. Okay, so as you follow, I think that's everyone. Yes. So as you follow the servant along with Lord Mieczyslav, you arrive at the dinner table to see the others. And let's see. So each one of you, again, so as you come back into this dining hall, you can see all of the other guests. They all look shaken or horrified. Suava, you can notice, has bandages all over her, especially one around her neck. Oh, basically everywhere. So actually, all of you would notice that. Suava looks like Suava looks like absolute shit. But eventually, she's motioned onto the table to sit next to Lord Wenceslav.
She's very much uncomfortable inside this man.
Sasha would have tried to go to her to see if she was okay.
So as you go to her, you can see that her her body, any part that's exposed in her attire is just got multiple bandages all over it. And she's got bandages all over her neck, her face, her arms, legs, everywhere.
He'll take the seat next to her if he's allowed.
Yes. You'll be allowed, and Lord Ketsimir sits right next to you.
Oh joy. He'll look concerned to Suava. It's like, are you what happened? Are you all right?
She kind of like side eyes. I'm never gonna pronounce his name right, but the man who she was playing music for.
Wenceslas.
She kind of like side eyes him and then looks back to Sasha and just kind of like shakes her head.
Oh, then we should go. We should-
Wenceslas, that's his name.
I didn't. He looked at Sasha. We should go. You getting Maine was not part of this.
But we also would risk the social stand. She kind of like looks at him more of a, I don't know if we're allowed leaving kind of look.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, he just looks just like, no social statuses be damned. You're like a sister to me. We should go.
Did they not?
But as you all saw, I assume you two sat down while you're having this conversation. But you guys do notice that the table in this room is in the room's still dimly lit as it was before, but it's laid with expensive crockery in a manner befitting a prince. The room's abuzz with excitement. All of your hosts haven't sat down yet. They're all very much more animated than they were when you initially saw them, and they're all chatting eagerly with one another. Far enough away that you can't hear exactly what they're saying. You can tell that they're saying things, but their voices are all kind of blending together. And they seem like they're reveling. Everyone else who sit at the table, they're just not talking. They look absolutely terrified. Or everyone else except the PCs. All of the other guests, like Leonardo and everyone else, they all just look terrified.
He'll just.
And Lothar is in the room and scurrying about the chamber, fussing over the settings. He's making sure everything's in order.
Aside from Svava, is anybody else bandaged or noticeably injured?
I think just Swava. I don't believe any of the. I don't believe there's the four of you.
I don't think
Not
neither
physically.
one draws blood.
I'm thinking even of the other guests as well.
Oh, right. Let's see. Let me see. Give me one second. I think one of them is. Yes, the nobleman. I think his name's Leonardo. Leonardo looks like he's been beaten pretty badly. And let's see. And I believe the Turk is. Let's see. That's good so far. Yes. No, the Turk just woke up. He was dragged in here. The Turk was basically just dragged in here, unconscious.
God, Jesus Christ!
Wrong person to talk to. I think.
Sasha will definitely lean back over his wife like, are you sure? We can vault.
She's definitely like thinking about it because it's like I got hurt, but the stories that could be told.
While Baba is pondering that, I would like to think. I just kind of look up and notice that finally noticed that people have come back in and see that she's injured and like to make a just speak over to her. Are you okay?
I believe I will be fine. She kind of like looks between them. I don't know if it's best that we do stay here, but she looks more pointedly at Sasha. You yourself have standing. This.
Well,
I
yes,
would hate
but
for you to be your family to be disappointed.
if I told my father we were being maimed, I mean, look at the guy over there. He points to the guy that was like beaten to a pulp. I'm sure he'd understand.
Not named, just injured a little bit.
Just badly beaten.
Quote unquote injured.
You still got all your limbs.
If we would try to leave, we would have to do it now. And she kind of like just starts trying to push away from the table, like real slow, like so that it's not real noticeable.
Yeah, Sasha will too.
But on that note, the musicians that have been in here, they stopped playing for a while, but they start playing again. As suddenly there is a rancor as Lord Giovanni walks in and takes his spot at the head of the table, right next to Mariana, the young woman that you guys noticed that you guys knew from the traveling part of the young peasant girl, and he motions for the rest of you to or the rest of the host to take their seats, which they all do. Marchetius next to Lucen, Alonso, the guy who put you in that shadow, Lord Leopold Valdemar sits next to you, Lord Mieczysław sits next to Nico, and everyone who did the torturing of each one sits right next to each one of you, and they all give you kind of an excited look. But as they take their seats next to each one of you, so as they take their seats next to each one of you, Lothar leads 3 servants, and all of a sudden you can so those of you who are of lower social standing, like the lowest of social standing, suddenly smell the most delicious smell you've ever smelled. Those of you with higher standing smell food that still smells better than any food you've eaten. As you can see, there are huge steaming carts piled high with platters of delicious smelling food. Like you could smell, for those of you who can recognize it, they brought things like roast duck, suckling pig, haunches of beef, legs of lamb, and and all of you can smell a mouth-watering aroma that just fills the entire room.
Are any of us hungry?
Well, we probably are now.
After that smell, and spread being put in front of us, I think we're all
I think Slava needs some food to replace her lost blood.
Like she definitely like stops moving, eyes it. We'll wait till they're all drunk.
All right.
So, Lady Jadvinga calls out above the clamor of the hosts, and she says, she brings up a glass and she said, "A toast to the one who brought us together for such a delightful evening. A toast to the leader who knew how to add flavor to our dining. A toast to the one clever enough to attack his own kin for our benefit. To Claudius Giovanni, to the destruction of Japheth, son of Cappadocius." And then a great cheer arises from the crowd, and they all just start crying, "Speech, speech, speech, speech!" And Claudius rises up out of his seat and motions for silence. The festive crowd, it takes its time in quieting, but soon the roar subsides, and he says, "Welcome, welcome, my true friends. Another year has passed, and the conspiracy of Isaac now stands on the threshold of victory. Your unflagging devotion to our cause has brought us to the brink of seizing Cappadocian power and wealth. I am in awe. Tonight I intend to reward that fidelity, which brings us to our guests." And he motions to gestures toward each one of you. "Welcome, you who are new to our ranks. Let us talk about sustenance. Let us talk about the draught of life that sustains us. The smell of fine food entices and excites the palate and makes the consumption all the more gratifying. Can you smell it? Does not the growing anticipation make the meal more and more desirable? This is the difference between the boorish peasant who devours his barley like a beast and the refined palate requiring cultivated sustenance. Anticipation. The circumstances of the meal are as important as the food itself. Consumption is a holy act, and each drop should be memorable. Only the finest food should be selected. The food should be tenderized, prepared. The eater must have a relationship with his meal. Then, when you bite a shred of flesh from your food, it's worth the blood you shed. Wouldn't our guests agree?" And then he looks pointedly at each one of you, starting with let's start with Alonzo. He looks pointedly at you and awaits a response.
All right, what did he say? I listened to
whole
like
thing?
every bit very intently, except for I was like not expecting to read number one. So
Okay, so the last thing he said, I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, but the last thing he said was only the finest food should be selected. The food should be tenderized, prepared. The eater must have a relationship with his meal. Then, when you bite a shred of flesh from your food, it's worth the blood you shed. Wouldn't our guests agree? And then he pointed to you.
why, yes, my lord. The
And he kn-
juice must be worth the squeeze.
He smirks a bit and then looks pointedly at Lucen. Or pointedly.
As you say, my lord. It is as you say.
He's
I will just kind of not meet his gaze and then glance over at his face. Marchettis.
he gives a smirk, and Marchettis gives a smirk that just has just a little hint of malice behind it. And then he looks pointedly at Sasha, who, by the way, has been dominated still. So, okay, yes, he waits a response from Sasha.
Well, yes, I can only assume so. I would never handle livestock myself.
Well, that is what we have servants for, is it not?
Yes.
And then he looks over at Nico.
Nico's kind of confused slightly, but like he nods like, "Of course, my lord." And just keeping the act up, but at the same time it's also kind of like he's a little confused because everything that he's kind of just witnessed with people being dragged into Svava being basically cut up, a few people beaten, he's kind of questioning a lot at the moment, and he's a little confused, but he's just like, "Yeah, sure," because now it's kind of like, all right, now I don't know anymore.
And then he looks over to Swava.
You are correct, Lord Giovanni.
And then Lord Giovanni glances toward the kitchen, and Lothar ushers in two servants that are dragging a very large and noisy sheep to the table by a silken leash. The sheep is pulling stubbornly against the servants. but they managed to corral it right toward the table, and and uh, and Lord Giovanni says, "He has spirit, how unlike his breed. Well, my guest, here is your dinner." And then he pauses and awaits your reaction.
Suava just kind of has like a blank expression about it because it's like, it's a sheep. Okay, it's food.
Going to kind of just lean a little towards Marchetta and say, "I'm not sure what you're here. I'm not going to lose." I will just stand and look at Lord Giovanni and state proudly behind. It is a fine meal to present to us, or to any god.
Anyone else have an immediate reaction?
No, Sasha will have one that's similar to Suava's.
Nico's gonna look at it and then he's gonna like just look around, but because he kind of has an idea of where this might go, but he's like, okay, they're gonna do this here? Like, that's literally his reaction. He doesn't say that, but mentally he's like, oh shit, they're gonna do this here? Like, that's basically how it comes off.
Is there a sharp or serrated knife on the table?
I'll say not serrated, but there is a knife on the table.
Okay. And you pointed towards that sheep and said, "That's your dinner, right?"
Yeah, and he nods. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. This might be terrible. I'll mutter under my breath. I'm gonna take the knife and go over and slit the sheep's throat.
Hang on. Before you do that, Lord Giovanni puts his hand up and says, "One moment." And then he takes a large axe from a nearby servant and holds it out to the guests. And he says, "Who among you will have the honor of the kill? Now come. Did you want a temperate, bloodless dinner? Eating is destruction, eating is death, and death is holy, as our Savior reminds us. Come."
I will promptly stand and offer to eat.
Ooh, I'll dab the face sweat off with my napkin and thank God thank the God I don't really believe in that I don't have to do it.
I just hope I do better than that Viking the last time.
Don't bump it up.
All right. So as you stand up, Lucen, he hands you the axe. So I'm going to need you to roll me strength melee or dexterity melee. Probably forget which one. I'll probably say
either one, but
yeah. I'll say since this is an axe, I'll say strength melee.
Okay, I'm typing rolling number of d10s.
Yeah, it's dash roll space and then like 1d10, 2d10, what have you.
Dash roll?
Flash.
Slash roll.
Oh shit.
Did he get it?
I had a couple of good numbers and a couple of not.
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 3 successes. So the damage for that.
Does
I
he
gotta
hit?
check. Yes, he will hit. The question is, will he hit? Question is, will he kill?
Got a lot of
Let's see.
strength, so my damage dice should be pretty high.
Let's see.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Right?
Let's see. I gotta
I
find.
hit it. I'm already
Yes.
one ahead of the last guy.
Okay, so the damage for that is strength plus. Say this is large axe, so I'll say this is. I'll say it's a hand axe. So, or I'll take the hatchet. Not a hatchet. I'll take the battle axe just for the sake of it. So that's strength plus 4. So you roll your strength plus 4.
Okay. A little better than last time.
2, 3, 5, 7, 1. That is actually enough. So, Lucen, as you grab the axe, Lucen, let's see. Kill the sheep. And this is easy for you. You're a knight. You've fought in actual battle, so this is a simple task for you. And
Sure should be.
yes,
You never know.
yes. Yes. So as you take the axe and just cut the sheep's head clean off in a single clean cut, it's actually rather impressive. All of your hosts look rather impressed. And the host the sheep just immediately falls dead, and Claudius scoops an elegant gauntlet under its bleeding neck, mentioning before he does that excellent kill, and he takes a goblet, fills it up with the sheep's blood, and he says, "Taste your kill," and he hands the goblet over to Lucen.
I will hesitate for a moment before grabbing it, and very kind of cautiously, with a little hesitation, raises my lips. Take the tiniest taste of it. Literally said taste it. He didn't say drink.
He gives a devilish leer, and he has the servants fill each identical goblets up for each of you, and he passes them out to each one of you, and watches to see if each one of you will drink.
Oh no, you got me fucked up. Sorry.
Slava does not drink it. There are just some things that she'll do, and this is not one of them.
Alonso's definitely drank worse on a ship somewhere, so yeah, he'll down it.
Sasha,
Like, very, very concerning. Nico has drank paint water before. So okay.
on accident or purpose?
No comment.
It was definitely a display of dominance at one point.
No comment.
You can't make
No
me
comment.
believe otherwise.
Well,
No
I'm pretty sure Sasha's still under the effects of dominate, so he'll drink it.
Sasha. All right. So those that are drinking are Lucen, Alonso, Sasha, Nico. And yeah, Lucen, Alonso, Sasha, Nico. Slava is refusing.
Yes.
All right. So Slava, Lord Giovanni walks over to you, takes the gauntlet from your hand, and says, and immediately just drenches you in that blood, just pours it.
Oh man.
And he shouts, "Wretched ingrate! How dare you? If you will not eat my dinner, then you shall become my dinner." And then he walks over to Lucen, putting his hand on your shoulder, and says, "And now I am hungry." And in one fast move, his finger, you Lucen, feel his fingernails rake along your neck, cutting ragged slashes into your skin as blood begins to drip. And then he says, "It is time we told you, our guests, our secret. You are our lambs. You are food to us. You are not here to be served. You are here to be served to us."
What?
Can I try to fight back?
Yes, you may.
I would like to try to, I don't know, grapple him at first while he's there scratching my neck. I would like to try to grab him and try to grapple him.
Yes.
I know this is not going to work, but I don't care. I know this is not going to work. My character has to believe that it will. There are a few times he's encountered something stronger than him.
I would like you to roll me dexterity athletics for this.
Right.
Yeah, I'll call it athletics. I could do brawl, but
I appreciate the athletics instead. Got me a much better pool. Actually, a pretty nice roll.
let's see.
We have proven that knight trumps Viking. But does knight knight does not trump Lord Giovanni.
Come on, play.
Okay, so Lucid, you do grab him rather tightly, but then he looks you straight in the eye, and let's see. What's your willpower?
Pretty good. 7. I
All right. All right. So he looks you right. He looks you right in the eye, and I need to roll. Let's see. So let me see how many dice Giovanni has for this.
It'd be hilarious if he manages to somehow botch this.
If he does, there are other vampires in the room that have dominate.
Oh, I know. I am under no illusions that I'm getting out of this, that I'm going to win this. But it was just hilarious to actually get one up on any of them.
Intimidate. Let's see. He's got a lot of dice for this.
Yeah.
3.
I gotta imagine it would be incredibly embarrassing to one of them to even have a mortal do anything to them.
Especially to Giovanni.
Yeah.
So your willpower is 7.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. 8 points. So, and let's see what the dice say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7. That's 6 successes. Okay, yeah, he's got you.
Oh well.
All right.
During that distraction, can some of us try to make a run for it?
Yeah. So I was gonna
Yes.
try getting up and making a book. She's gonna book it.
Yes.
Again,
Distraction, hopefully.
And as
Is-
you do that, Flava, a similar feeling, Lord Wencelas looks straight at you, and a similar feeling as before overcomes you, as tells you, you should stay. Stay.
is Sasha capable of getting up and trying to run?
You've already been dominated, so you
Oh.
can't.
He's just smiling like an idiot then.
Did Giovanni dominate me or what?
Yes, he
Okay.
dominated you, and he told you, well, he says, let go, don't move, don't resist.
Okay. Quick question regarding dominate. I know I don't have any control over what I do. Am I still conscious of what I'm doing? Do I know that
Let's see.
I'm doing things that I wouldn't normally want to do?
I'll say yes. You're still aware of what you're doing. It's just that your body is acting
Yeah.
without
It's
your
acting-
consent.
Yeah, I'm compelled to do whatever he says, but I still
Mm.
know that I don't want to. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I wondered.
Yeah, you know you don't want to. It's just your body. You're not really given a choice here.
Yeah.
And then as he does that, he continues to laugh and he says, "You guys don't understand yet. You are to be our meal. We have tenderized you before dinner, and now you are ready to be eaten." And then he gazes into the eyes of Mariana, the woman that he had chosen to sit next to. And then he just looks, and then each one of the other hosts looks straight at you, and they say nothing. And then after that awkward silence, Lord Giovanni speaks again and says, "Mariana, ascend to the table." And as if in a trance, Mariana steps up, shedding her gown as she glides, hypnotized, onto a huge empty platter at the head of the table. And then Giovanni says, "The circumstances of the feeding impart a great flavor to the blood. How tawdry to violently attack our food before the kill. When prey is startled, its blood fills with a bitter acid that in large amounts is most distasteful. And yet, to dull the victim into a submissive stupor creates a sluggishness of the blood. The blank-eyed prey, whose soul has been crushed, makes for a boring meal, and one without spice. And then Lord Giovanni clamps a metal collar around Mariana's neck. The collar has one single hole in it. And then he continues to opine. So what is the solution to this Epicurean dilemma? I thought to myself, a mere drop of the acid, a mere tinge of poison, ergo, not shock, but a mild, sustained dread, followed by sweet surrender. It excites the blood of the prey, as it stimulates the soul of the predator. As terror builds without total panic, a drop of this savory zest is added to blood. And then Lord Giovanni thrusts a jeweled dagger into the hole in Mariana's metal collar. As her crimson blood begins to flow, he instead moves the dagger and inserts a keg tap into the hole, and the flow stops. He neatly dabs the spilled blood off of her neck with his embroidered linen napkin, and then he says, also, you must wait until the appetite comes over you, but before the ravening hunger overwhelms you. Eating when full dulls the mind and senses. The eater must be prepared, and the eaten must be prepared as well. We are ready. Our food is ready. My friends, let us eat. Claudius turns the tap, and the blood flows smoothly from the woman's neck into his goblet. He swirls the blood and smells it. He looks deliriously happy. He then raises the gauntlet to the guests and drinks a heady draught. When he lowers the cup, his eyes bulge with the rapture of a fanatic, and a huge smile spreads across his blood-stained lips. The guests all cheer, shouting, "It's our turn, enough anticipation!" And Claudius says, "Wait. Before we gorge ourselves, we must test the loyalty of our newest household soldier." And then, two guards enter, escorting someone who is limping, someone you recognize as Paul, who is now wearing the regalia of Giovanni's soldiers. And then the Lord says, "Now, soldier, the time has come for you to prove your loyalty to us. Are you truly a hardened crusader wounded in battle, or a farm boy who fell on his own pitchfork? Come, my faithful Roman legionnaire, pierce the side of our sacrificial lamb." He hands Paul the dagger, and let's see, who is he? And then points to I'm gonna make this roll because I point to Sasha.
Oh, yay.
And then Paul blanches. So Paul looks at Sasha, looks back to Lord Giovanni. He takes a minute, and then he says, "My lord, I cannot. Such wickedness is against God." The hosts start laughing uproariously. Claudius, however, he's not amused. He roars, "I do not believe you fought with the great crusader Hunayati. Coward, pierce him or die." And then Paul shakes his head in refusal again. He just looks at each of you. He just looks at each of you and just continues to shake his head as for refusing to hurt any of you. And then Marchetius, Lucien, you notice Marchetius gets up, walks right over to Paul, and in one blow hits him so hard that he spins around, and his legs buckle, but Marchetius holds him up and just starts punching him and beating him over and over again until the young man's face is a mass of blood. And then finally, Marchetius lets him crumble into a heap on the floor and just strides back into his seat like it was nothing.
Am I able to speak at all while dominating?
At this point, yes.
I'm going to curse him out and basically proclaim loudly that I'm going to kill him.
And then
No, I can't. But I can't move. I can't do anything. But I'm going to proclaim that.
And then Marchetius smirks and says, Ah, that's funny.
And I silently beg to ask Valdemar what the stone is. Just tell me what this is before I die.
And he takes a look at you and says, that? Oh, that's a stone from what we call the abyss. Just a last piece of information before you become my sustenance.
It wasn't worth it, but at least I know.
And then after smirking and laughing at Lucen, Marchettis strides back into his seat, sits right back down, and Giovanni says to each of you with a very mocking look on his face, says, "Oh, I nearly forgot to tell you. Soldier Paul," and he motions to Paul, "wishes to thank you for interceding on his behalf to join my troops." And then he and all the other kindred laugh. Oh, interesting.
If we ever see you in the afterlife, we're gonna kill all of you.
I wouldn't bet on it. And then the servants clamp
I'm
metal
not
top
going there until he's dead.
as if you have a choice. And as Giovanni says that, suddenly a metal collar is clamped around your neck, loosened. Same with all of you. And the same situation happens. Each one of the soldiers pierces your neck and puts a keg tap inside of each one of your, puts a keg tap inside of the holes made by daggers. And they start to, and then when the tap is turned, your blood starts to flow. Any of you, so those of you who are not dominated, which is everybody save Sasha and Lucian, are you going to try and resist?
I thought I was dominated.
Yeah, I said everybody except Sasha and Lucian, because you've both been dominated. The others who have not been dominated, they can try and resist if they want, or they can do it willingly.
Yeah, try to grab the knife on the table and stab Valdemar.
Okay.
Take him with me.
All right.
Or wait, no, yeah, okay. I was gonna say maybe actually I might want to take myself out.
Okay, so I think I will. Okay. So let's see. I am going. So a couple of the soldiers come over to restrain you. Nico and Suava, are you guys resisting or submitting willingly?
Uh,
I think
Squava's gonna try resist.
All
Nico's
right.
kind of looking around the room and he's kind of reading it, and with the ease in which they kind of took Paul out, he's kind of like, I don't want to say he's resistant, but there's like a look of resignation, like, okay, this is how I go out.
You already
Yeah,
tortured
very-
people for them. You might
Well, no,
go along with it.
Yeah, like at this point, like Nico's already kind of like done something to where like it's only now coming along that he's questioning it. So he's kind of shocked, kind of like so many things are going on that he's just kind of mute.
Yeah,
at this.
no. So I was going. There's no honor in dying without a fight. So yeah, she's gonna try at least, fighting it.
Okay. So, several of the a group of, I'll say, 2 of the soldiers come to attempt to restrain both of you. So I would like, so this is going to be a resisted roll. So I would like strength brawl rolls, because I don't think there are like group weapons around. So I'd like strength brawl rolls from you guys.
No, they got the cutlery.
Oh yes. So strength brawl or strength melee.
Take them with the fork.
Swava's gonna grab the knife and try. So yeah, melee.
Yes, strength
I
melee.
I wish I had melee. I am going to I'm gonna spend a willpower.
All right. I believe that's in between. That's an automatic success.
Did you enjoy that success while you had it?
I did.
Oh no, I was talking to Suava.
I know it was nice. She tried.
Oh no.
As I said, there's no. You don't get into Valhalla unless you were fighting.
Okay, so Slava gets no successes. Alonso gets
Two.
2. So let's see. And I gotta roll for the soldiers. Let's
Just
see.
going after them with the butter knife.
I'm sure that'll
Should
get
go
her
after
into
with a
the.
spoon.
I'm sure that'll make her a definitely a 9 Harrier with that. Let's see. So that's 2, 3. Oh, okay. That's 5 successes beats your 2, Alonso.
Well played.
And the other soldier. Oh, that is a shit roll. I think they both got no successes.
Wait, what?
Okay, so Suava, you actually manage with swiping the butter knife at them. You do manage to actually cut both of the soldiers. Not enough to really hurt them, but enough to keep yourself from being restrained. Alonso, you on the other hand get completely overpowered and have the collar placed on you and stabbed and have a keg tap put on you. And you are restrained. So Suava, you are going to need to make me another roll if you
Oh
want to keep.
no.
Do it. Do it.
Maybe you can make a
do it.
Yeah.
runaway roll.
She's gonna try running for it, so yeah.
I guess that would be dexterity athletics.
Uh, 4. Yeah, 4. Oh, we got at least 2 successes, or at least 1.
All right. All right. Let's roll for the soldiers. Let's see. We have actually same number of dice. So 1, 2.
She's just backing up, holding it, all threatening, like.
Yeah, nope. Those soldiers catch up to you pretty much right away. And we need to make another contest of strength melee against their strength brawl, which is high. So the vampires are just kind of sitting there watching this unfold. They don't really feel like they need to. You can tell the look on their face.
Strength
They don't
melee?
feel like they need to waste. Yes, strength melee. Okay, that's 1 success to their 1, 2. There were 1 success to their 3. So yeah, they gotcha. So Suava, you do put up a valiant effort trying to escape and managing to ward them off at least for a little bit, but eventually they do catch up to you, tackle you, and give you the collar and keg tap treatment. All right. And so now all of you have been either restrained or dominated. The rest of you who are under the influence of dominate, you're not doing anything. And Nico, you resisted, you've given up willingly. Nico, all the rest of you have seen this happen. Those of you who can still like control yourselves. And the vampires excitedly move, and each one of your hosts excitedly move from each one of you, turning the taps and sampling the different vintages. So each one of the hosts, Marchelia, starts with you, Lucen. Each one of your particular tormentors starts with each one of you, but then just moves down the line to try each one of you. And then as they continue to do this, they animately compare tastes, and even the most reserved among them, they start to become gleeful and aroused. They start reeling like drunkards the more they drink from each one of you. And then, which one of you is lowborn? Or lowest, or that'll probably loosen, or lowest born, at least considered to be anyway. Or actually, no, wait. So I get something different for them. So the Mariana, Giovanni says about Mariana, it's a native domestic vintage without any breeding, but I think you'll be amused by its presumption. And as Wenceslas drinks more from you, Suava, he says, this is a very exotic vintage. Doesn't quite have upper levels of breeding, but it's quite the exotic taste.
I hope
Um,
you burn in whatever hell there is reserved for you.
well, you first. And then the vampires continue to drink, and they make a toast. And they each collectively say, "To the eternal destruction and damnation of Japheth Cappadocius, to the continuing blessed ignorance of Hardestat and his motley mob." Claudius says, "My friends, we must be bold. We must take great risks. How else will we win anything worth the winning?" Let's see. And then Mariana at this point signs in, and she manages to choke out, "What's to become of us?" And then Lord Giovanni replies to Mariana and says, "Why, you will die, of course. In a few months, we shall send word to your provincial homes that you were set upon by brigands, or monsters, or Turks, your loved ones." And then he pauses to look at Lucen, if any, will grieve and resolve to never set foot out of their muck-encrusted hovels. And then after he says that, he looks to Alonzo and Nico, and Alonzo, Nico, and Sasha, and says, "Oh, excuse me, your muck-encrusted palaces." Any response?
So it's still kind of shocked
Um,
at this point. Like it's kind of like I'm dying. Whatever. Like it's going in one ear out the other at this point.
not really. I'm pretty sure he's starting to feel pretty lightheaded and dominates a bitch.
So as they continue to drink from you, you guys are each one of you are starting to feel dizzy, weak, and cold. Suava, it's kind of similar to what you were feeling before. It's just much worse. As you're starting to feel dizzy, your limbs are growing cold from your now worse blood loss. And each one of you, it feels like that each one of you, a thought races. A thought enters each one of your heads. This is it. This is it. This is the end. And just when things look the bleakest, a loud crash. Suddenly, each one of you hears a loud crash as you haven't lost consciousness yet, but you're on the cusp of losing it. And all the hosts freeze mid-revel, panic on each one of their blood-stained visages. And suddenly, you can hear an alarm, shouting, the clatter of footsteps, and warning bells jingling. And another crash from the southern wall shakes the building, and a sentry comes running in. My lord, we're under attack. A sentry of men-at-arms. Hardestat's troops. We are overwhelmed." And then the hosts leap up from their meal, and then Claudius, with a raging look on his face, says, "Damn, the founders. Damn their eyes." And Lord Mitislav shouts, "What's that?" And Matron Violetta scowls, "Someone has betrayed us." And Al Nasir, the Turkish-looking guy, says, "It must have been that Malkavian madwoman, Theophana. We should tear out her deceitful heart." And then Wenceslas says, "Impossible. You're just trying to say us. You're just saying that to throw us off the track, Asimite. It must have been you. I've never trusted you." And then Lord Leopold Valdemar says, "More than likely the Lady Jadvinga is behind it. Scheming venture always put clan before allies." And Lady Jadvinga retorts to that one with saying, "You're an addle-pated old lick, Leopold. I hate Hardestat and I've often attacked his holdings. I say we stay and prove we're doing nothing to merit an attack." And Gavrin, the gypsy dress guy, says, "Stay and trust my fate to that madman Hardestat? Never." And Lady Demetra, the one that Sasha saw chasing, That poor shepherd across the rooftops like a damn animal shouts, Giovanni's betrayed us. We're forced to believe he'd attack his fellow Cappadocians. And then Claudius bellows out, Silence! I forbid this infighting. Follow me now, or we're all dead. And Marquetius shouts, There's nowhere to go. Let's fight them. This is not the place. We can go to the reliquary. They cannot follow us there. And then Lady Theophana chimes in, Yes, we can go. Come, Claudius says. I have a way out through the cliffs below. Come quickly. But Casimir says, But they will follow us. Your soldiers will fall like the pathetic mortals they are. And Giovanni thinks, and then he says, Aye, they will. We must slow hardest spot. Ah, I got it. Embrace your prey. They are trained and will quickly change. That will slow our pursuers and buy us time to escape before our child there are destroyed in the onslaught. And Lady Anissa chimes in, What if one survives? Ha! I remind the gentle lady that our attackers are the fanatical founders. Hardest would never suffer one to live. Now do it. The only way. And each one of your tormentors walks up to you. And for those of you who could still feel your limbs, suddenly you can feel a prick in each of your necks. It doesn't hurt so much as it doesn't quite hurt as much as you would think. But at first it just feels cold, but then it hits. Suddenly, pure bliss. Like it bombards you with pleasure, amounts of pleasure you've never experienced before. It's been some of you can't help but cry. Suddenly, each of your sires is holding you tight, making you feel like you're the only thing in the world. And then as you're doing that, those of you who were resisting but still can just say, your mind just tells you to shut up, just enjoy this. But not long after that, you suddenly feel that cold feeling again. And then as quickly as it started, you suddenly realize it's over, and you realize that you'll be likely chasing the fleeting feeling of this pleasure for the rest of your existence. But as you suddenly lose consciousness, you suddenly find yourselves awake again, but the taste of blood is on each of your lips. And then as soon as you wake back up, your now sires say, "Fight the invading troops to the death," and then they run. So Sasha and Lucen, you're going to be compelled to fight. Those who didn't resist, which is really only going to be Nico, because you two have been restrained, but actually you two haven't been dominated. So Nico, Slava, and Alonso still have control of themselves. But I would like everyone to roll me perception awareness.
Awareness, or can I use alertness? Does it matter?
Well,
I'm going to say for this one, you can substitute alertness if that's higher.
well,
I have 2 alertness and 0 awareness.
I enjoyed that success while I had it.
That's 4.
What success?
Okay, has everyone rolled?
I got a 10 with all 4 of my dice combined.
0.
Did it count for anything?
2. Probably not. 2. 2. And
Botch.
2. Okay, so Slava, Nico, and Alonso, you guys see that that your now sires have fled. They fled into a secret passage that looks like it leads to a storage room. But then you can see fire from that room, so the door is blocked. So each one of you are now vampires. I was wrong about the blood points thing and character creation. You're only going to have 2.
Okay.
Oh, we hungry bitches.
Yes,
Blood pool.
you only have 2. and I will actually, and then not long after they leave, the sound of you guys can hear the sounds. The door splinters, and a group of armored troops pour in. Their leader is a giant of a man with gleaming fangs. The troops all wear the standard of a single red rose, and many of them now have bared fangs. The second in command, though, is familiar. It's Redirgio. The one who was slapped with that riding crop. And the leader bellows to his troops, "Destroy them, my hearties, but leave at least one alive, or torture." And Redirgio shouts, "Surrender, you traitorous dogs. My lord Haderslot will spare you if you surrender now." Let's see. Let's see. So the rest of the guests who have also been turned, they rise up and start to engage the troops. Nico and Sasha, or not Nico, Lucien and Sasha, you're gonna have no choice. But actually, we will switch because
I was gonna fight anyway. I'm in that kind
Yes.
of a mood right now.
All right. So I actually have you do the map change.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I am going. Because I'm gonna put icons for each of you. Those of you who have pictures, they're gonna appear.
Cool.
Monzo.
Svava's character.
Right next to this.
Yes, so I think each one of you should have control over that token, so you can pick where it is you guys are going to be.
Oh,
Yep.
oh,
I'm just
this is
doing pictures.
nice.
Huh.
Sorry.
Well, I was sitting next to Suava, so
I just put the map there because it's going to be easier for me to keep track of where everybody is that way.
I think I was on the first table. No, unless you wanted.
Yeah, because we know for sure that Suava and Sasha were
We're
beside
next to each
each other.
other.
And we know that there were people on either side of each of you because
Right.
you're sires.
Mm-hmm. Oh, where's my phone?
Is my picture on my icon for anybody else? 'Cause all
I
I'm seeing
just-
is like a little purple thing with a dot.
Yeah, that's all I see because
Me,
it's tied to the character profile.
Oh,
Yes, you'd have to put the picture on the character profile.
Yeah, that's why we don't see
I do
Burning
that.
Viden.
where do I do
Yeah.
that?
So you click your token or click your sheet. You see where it says edit?
Hmm?
You see where your sheet says edit?
Ah, there we.
And then you see it says default token.
Remember where that picture is. I'm sure it's where. Yay! Yay! Do something to refresh
Hold on.
that.
Let me see. Yeah, nah. Me refreshing it didn't do anything.
Yeah, 'cause
Uh,
it's probably because it was
y-
pulled prior to its upload.
Yes, I will actually delete your token and I'll put it back. There we go. Now is it there?
Yes. I
Yes.
look like my character. I'm a little disappointed that Svava isn't the flaming cartoon character, though.
it would fit
No,
her.
we are not having Burning Viden. That character has been put to rest for like 5 years by now.
I don't even know what that is, but okay. I just think it looks funny.
I'm just sad I don't have the original post that relate to the person drawing it.
Right. So, and now we are going to do combat. So, I will actually hang on one sec. Sorry, I just gotta stuff up that one. That okay. All right. So I think everybody is everybody where they want to be?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a tracker here. So let's see. I forget how much each character can move. It should be in the how many like feet a character can move. Because I know there's a thing for that. One's in it, planning. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, I think there's a thing for that. Movement, dex speed, base 0. Yes. Okay. So it's 7 yards. Okay. So if you guys look, each square here is 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 yard.
So I can 7. According to my character sheet.
Yes, I believe that's true. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to need initiative roll. So everyone's going to roll. Roll for me 1d10 plus dexterity and wit.
I literally lost track of where. Okay.
You said dexterity and wits.
Yes.
Okay. Roll 1d10 and
You should be able to have like /roll 1d10 plus whatever. So it should get.
I think that worked.
Yes.
Not sure it did. Well, there's the initiative under dice.
/roll.
Oh.
Plus.
It did? Okay. I'll add a turn for you. And I will make it that. Let's see. I have a thought. What was that? What did it do?
Oh, there is a. Okay.
oh,
Yeah,
where is
okay.
that?
So you would click the token. Make sure you click the token. Look at the sheet, and then click that.
Click the token.
And then click the font.
Okay.
It's-
I like trying to find it on my sheet though.
You go
So on
to
the
what
sheet,
says
over to
dice.
and it will
Oh,
two
initiative,
down
right?
from yeah.
Don't know where you found that.
You'll have to
It's
forgive
like
me.
right under main dice pools in the dice page.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really long. Sorry.
It's fine. It's a first for me. So that's
Don't- But okay, so
Mm.
on the main page, where am I going?
Dice.
Dice.
No, it's not on the main page.
Not on the main page. It's like pull up your character sheet.
Okay.
Go to the tab that says dice. Scroll
And-
down.
Until
Oh,
you
there
find.
we go.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh.
Initiative. Just hit roll. Is that what it wants me to do?
yes. And you're in the order. Is everybody see themselves in the order?
Mhm.
I liked my 14 better. Is there any way I can keep my 14 that I rolled originally? Just roll properly.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give it to you back.
I'll do that from now on. Now that I know where that is.
It's okay. It's a learning experience for everybody. Sawaba, you're tied with Alonzo. So, which one of you? What's your initiative rating for each of you? How many dice?
I've got 4 in wits, 2 in dexterity.
So that's 6. Sawaba, what about you?
I got 2 in wits, 3 in dexterity.
That's 5. So, Alonzo, you would go first.
Okay. I'm a little bit useless unless I have a bow and arrow in my hand. Is there a bow and arrow in this room that I could get to?
Unfortunately, not anywhere, not nearby. So, as the soldiers rush in, a couple of them have got one. But as the soldiers rush in, Verdurgio shouts, "Surrender! My lord will spare you if you surrender. If you surrender right now." And you'll notice that as these soldiers come and attack you. The other soldiers have swarmed and started attacking and chopping heads off of the other guests, except for Mariana. Mariana seems to have disappeared. Let's see. But it's up to you. You can fight or surrender or try and run.
They said if we surrender, they won't kill us, but they're already killing the others. So that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Oh,
Well, to
actually,
be fair, if they're not showing signs of surrendering,
I could probably roll to see if he's lying or not. That's one of my specialties, right?
I believe you may. Let me see what. I believe that's going to be. I'll say
But aren't the two of us
Intelligence
dominated?
empathy.
Intelligence, empathy.
Alonzo actually was not dominated.
Ah,
I wasn't. Yeah. I
So
was
he
just
still has.
physically restrained. Okay, intelligence, empathy. Empathy 2, intelligence 6. And I have detecting lies. I said 7.
Nice.
4 successes. All right. As far as you can tell, Redocio isn't lying.
I'm gonna step backwards towards the wall behind me and then just try to like duck down and hide. So I'm gonna go like back there
Smart.
and hide.
All right. And with Lava, what are you doing?
she's gonna take his word for value and literally just stay in the chair, kind of curled up, just to make herself seem as small as possible, and obviously not there to try and kill.
Surrendered. All right. All right. So, Lucen, you are dominated and have to fight. So,
Listen is gonna fight anyway. I'm kind of tempted to try to pick you up and.
What is this,
throw you at
torture?
them. I'm kind of tempted to pick Alonzo up and try to throw him at them. But I'm not going. I'm not going to.
Alonzo or Suava?
No, Alonzo, because he's backing off. 'Cause that
I'll
would be
smash-
funny.
I'll
Like,
smash you in the head with a bit rock.
I'm gonna surrender.
Oh,
No, you're not.
Being a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Is there anything that looks kind of like a pole arm of any sort, like a spear or a pole or something that I can grab?
Pelosa's thing would probably be one of the torches in the wall.
Yeah, but those are a lot more like a cudgel.
Yeah, it's not exactly a pole arm, but it's a cudgel anyway.
All right, I'm just gonna grab whatever implements of whatever kind of knives or whatever I can find on the table.
There is the axe.
Oh, heck yeah, I'll take an axe. I completely forgot that was around.
Yeah, there's the axe Giovanni had you use earlier to kill the kill the sheep.
Oh yeah, I'm grabbing that and going to try to attack the nearest person I can get to.
All right. So the axe was at the head of the table, so you would have to go
The head not up to the right.
right here. See where I made a little icon. So you have to go over there, grab it, and then you can move the other yards you have.
Like to there, baby.
Yeah.
Ah, dang. I'm going to yell at them and just like maybe can I just yell at them and make like an intimidation attempt?
Actually, there are actually a couple things you could do. You're trying to intimidate the soldiers, or are you trying to
The soldiers.
Okay.
Basically, I'm trying to scare them into backing down. And then
Okay. That would be charisma. That would be not charisma. That'd be manipulation, intimidation. because you're trying to manipulate them into like backing off. So I'll say manipulation, intimidation.
Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, nothing. You try and look intimidating, but you've been
Please.
yeah, you've still got the collar. You still got the collar on, and considering you're not wearing like any armor and just holding that axe, try and look and roar at them almost, but they just kind of look and just like shrug, like all.
I got like blood in my mouth and stuff, and it's like, bleh. Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble making good sound because my all bloody and everywhere.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So Nico, you're up. So you have not been dominated, and you still have free will. So
Honestly, with everything kind of going on, he's looking at Svava and he's gonna follow her example.
all right. Nico.
Like he's really just gonna like stay put, still confused as fuck, and he's just still going to sit there.
All right. Retergio. All right, so Retergio walks over to Slava and begins to chain her up. He chains her immediately, and Hardislat says, "We shall talk further when we reach my castle." So Sasha, you're up. You're dominated. You have to fight.
He's dominated. He's fucking hungry. He is going to bite the first thing that tries to attack him.
Yes, in fact, each of you are feeling just a strange hunger, an almost overpowering hunger that you've never felt before in your life. But I will say I'll say this is the closest, the first thing that gets within range of you. I'll say, are you going to charge toward them to bite, or are you going to wait till they come to you?
Well, I think I need to go to them since I've been told you have to go fight, not have the fight come to you.
Fair enough. So the closest thing would be Retergio, who's chaining up Slava.
Yes, okay, so I'll go attack him.
Okay, so that is, you're going for a bite. Yes, so that
Yes.
is.
And that's also on my custom dice, on my custom rolls too, I think.
Dexterity brawl.
Not, but it will be soon. Let's see. That is a whopping 3 dice. Yo!
Oh.
That is one success, but he is going to resist.
But it's also a 10.
That is true, but he's wearing armor, and yeah, you're not gonna get through that with that. So, Sasha, you try and bite into his neck, but unfortunately, your fangs, despite it being a fairly good, despite you targeting him fairly well, you still managed to hit armor and not skin. No dice, unfortunately. So now it is the soldier's turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. I'm gonna move over here.
Towards me. That would make it a lot easier for me to get to.
7.
Oh, you're approaching me.
4. These other two just like jump over the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
I like how they all just go past the person attacking the boss.
7.
I imagine they probably figured the boss can handle him.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hardest Spot's not doing anything. He's just kind of sitting there. 4, 5, 6, 7.
I guess
All right.
the manager approach.
All right. So let's resolve this one. So for Sasha, who attacked, these other guards pulled it out. This one guard who's nearby you pulls out a sword and starts to slash at you. So let's see. That is going to be for them going to be for them. I believe that is for that's dexterity melee. So
Can I do
you get
alertness
a lot
and
more dice.
dexterity and dodge?
What?
Can I do well, I guess that would be athletics. Can I roll dexterity and dodge?
Yes, but you would. It's a +1 difficulty and -1 die because you've already acted this turn.
Ah,
So let's see, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that is 7. How much stamina do you have, by the way?
2.
Okay. So that's
And you get one shot
that's
at one new character.
two successes. All right. That is 2 successes. So you can roll stamina for me to try and soak it.
Don't think it did.
Yeah, and he's got a weapon. So I need to include that weapon. So let's see. Weapons, range weapons, melee weapons. All right. Okay. Yep, what's he got? Knife, dagger, saber, broadsword. Okay, I'll count as broadsword. So in terms of damage, that is going to be that's gonna be a lot. So let's see. So that is strength plus.
I feel like he's gonna be
so-
sleeping.
Yeah. So it's strength plus 2. So I just gotta check real quick. Strength. Dude, that's 6. That's 6 dice. You think you could soak six dice?
I don't think so. No, not with 2.
Sounds like you're going
Uh,
back.
Okay, that is only 2 points of lethal damage as the sword pierces your side. You find, Sasha, for some strange reason, you feel stronger and more resilient than before as the sword does impact you and you can feel the pain of it breaking across your flesh, but it's not as strong as it was. So that's 2 points of lethal damage for you, Sasha. I roll like shit. So it's Alonzo. Alonzo, you're up. Hello, Alonzo.
Oh, can I roll stealth to try to hide?
Yes, you may.
All right. Dexterity stealth.
Well, first you have to tell me where you're hiding, because there's not really many places to hide in here.
Going to hide in open sight in plain
Good
sight.
call.
Yeah, if you can explain to me how you would hide when there's like 2 people like 2 meters in front of you.
Well then, I'm
Totally
going to.
picturing you hiding like Crunk.
I'm going to hold my hands up and surrender and say, "Please don't kill me, please." I'll try to be really pathetic so I can convince them not to kill me. Alonzo has no shame. He's about survival.
Okay, yes. So each of you sees Alonzo surrendering in a rather disgraceful fashion pretty much immediately as soon as like the big guys with swords start to get close to him.
Can I roll on it just to like get it in there, get them really onto my side of not killing me?
Go ahead. Give me let's say charisma empathy.
Cool. Oh boy. Watch.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So what do I want to do with this? Okay. So instead of trying to like what's the word I look for? Instead of trying to give a gesture of surrender, instead for some weird reason something overcomes you, and instead you try and puff yourself, do like you would
Oh yeah.
when being attacked by a bear. You just puff yourself up and make yourself look tough, and make yourself look like you're raring for a fight, which does get the guards to look at you with kind of like that. All right, kind of face. Suava, you surrender. For uh, what said like. Sorry, I'm just typing. Okay, one time. Okay. All right. So, Lucen, you're up. You've got the axe.
Yes, I do. And I'm gonna right over to this guy and try to take a swipe at, or try to chop him with the axe.
Okay, that would be dexterity. Dexterity melee for the
Okay.
for the initial attack roll.
Like a few successes there.
3, 4. Oh, that is so that is 4 successes. So that is definitely going to hit, but
He's
is
gonna feel
going.
this.
Yes, he
Even
is.
with his armor, he's gonna feel this.
Yeah. So with his armor, so you would have. So that is you got 4 successes left. He is going to try and block you. So that is he's going to try and block you with the shield he has. So that is going to be. Let me see. He's going to do this with 1 minus 1 die because he's already swung. Oh wait, no, he hasn't. So he
I haven't done anything yet.
yeah. Okay, so that's full no armor. So guys, so let's see. So he is going to try and parry. So or he's going to try and block. So that's dexterity brawl. Let's see. Dexterity brawl. That's 5 dice. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, right?
Yes.
4, 5. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he's got 3. So he is going to block at least some of the blow. So that's going to take away from your 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That will bring you down to 1. So you still do hit. So the damage dice you're going to roll for this one, and I forgot this rule earlier, but you would add the extra hit. Actually, no, this success is just for you to hit. So
Okay.
I want you to roll strength plus 4 dice.
Okay. Quick question: do I
Yes.
have access to my potence?
Not yet. You can't use your disciplines yet.
Okay, that was what I was wondering. It's like if I got that, he's really gonna feel this one. 'Cause
You know how.
I already got 3 dots of potence, which would be adding up 3 dice to this pool.
You don't even know you can. So
Yeah.
Yeah, technically we have them, but we haven't been taught how to use them yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
If that makes more sense.
So I'm still rolling
Lack
8.
discipline.
Oh, hey, he's feeling this one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's 5 successes. And
Ooh,
I believe
10.
that's like, yeah, I believe that's like.
How do
I don't
10s
know.
work in 20?
They would explode if you had a specialty. Do you have an applicable specialty here?
No, I use pole arms. Pole arms is my specialty for melee, so an axe isn't gonna qualify.
Okay, so
I'd
Lucen,
be like
you-
a spear or a lance or a halberd.
So Lucen, you take that axe and just plow it right, and it goes. Actually, let me change soak. He's still got soak and the armor soak. So let's see. So that's plus 4. So that is 4. And let me before I do this, let me see the armor soak. I'll say is to the armor. So he's got that armor is going to give him a lot of soak dice. So
Yeah, imagine.
5. So that's 5 successes. 2,
It's one of the reasons I like spears.
4.
They have armor piercing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. So that is 5. So you actually still get 1 hit through. So it even So listen, even though you do hit the armor for most of your, even though your axe does hit mostly armor, you still do manage to pierce at least enough of it through to at least injure him a little bit. Not quite that much, but still it does get through and does hit him and does injure him. And so Nico, you're up. Are you surrendering, or did you?
Yeah, I
Oh,
already.
yeah, you already did. Yes. Sorry. Those of you who have surrendered, I apologize, but
It's okay.
okay. Yes. So Reduccio is going to, now that he's finished chaining up Suava, is going to redirect his attention over to the one that just tried to bite him.
Sasha just clawing at his armor.
Let's see.
This can't open somehow.
It's like a can. Just, 2, 3.
Just gotta twist the top off.
Exactly. 4, 6, 6 dice for him. So let's see. 1, 2. Okay, that is
Oh,
5 successes. So let's see what he is going to do to you, which is nothing good. I can tell you that. Because he gets 4 more. He gets 4 more dice on this. The ranged weapons, melee weapons. And so he just takes out his. Or Sasha, are you going to try and dodge or block or anything?
yes. Yes, I am going to try and dodge this time.
Yes. Okay. So, are you going to direct your whole action toward that, or is it going to be a multiple action?
Can I dodge and then parry?
You can do either or.
No.
You can try parrying, but you don't have a weapon and he does, so that's going to be kind of tricky.
Yeah, I'm assuming all. Yeah, they had to get their weapons at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now he's just gonna dodge then.
Okay. So, if you want to take an action this round, your next action is going to be a +1 difficulty and -1 dice. But the first dodge you can commit fully. So I would like you to roll dexterity athletics.
So just dexterity. I got an 8.
That is 1 success. That takes away 1, but he still got 3. So that's an extra 3 dice on his damage. So that is that's just gonna hurt. Let me see. 2, 4. What's his strength? So that is 5. 2, 5. Okay, this is probably gonna hurt. So let's see. Oh wait, now I gotta add 3 more dice. All right, that is 1, 2, 3. That's 4 successes. I would need you to roll your soak.
I'm like rolling these 2 d10s. Oh wait.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, can I take those instead?
16 and a 12.
A D10. Wow.
Can I take the previous roll? I like that one better.
Nope. So that is gonna be. That's gonna be 4 more points of lethal damage. What are you at right now, anyway?
Dead.
Crippled.
Okay, yeah. So Sasha, the Reduccio, unfortunately, as unfortunate as this is, he just tried to bite him. So he does stab you. He's trying. It seems from the looks of it, he's trying to avoid killing you. He doesn't really seem to want to. But you can still go if you want, because you're up. Keep in mind your physical actions are going to take like a 5 die penalty. So.
Which means I can't do anything. He-
-3 dice.
No, I'm -5 dice. I'm at crippled.
That's what I said. You're rolling -3.
I have always been told that bleeding on the floor is a free action, so he's gonna fall to his knees on the floor.
All right. So the other soldiers. Let's see. I'll move them first, just because it's easier.
I feel
Alonzo's
like I'm
gonna have
about to get gang attacked.
No. Okay. All right. So we will start with oh, so let's see. I gotta move over. So this guard's gonna chain up Nico. And Slava's already been chained up. So Alonzo. Let's see. Think you could survive
He has become the bear pelt wearing man.
yes, exactly. He's become the berserker. Let's see. That is 3 and okay, so that is 7 dice on each. So both of these guys are gonna pull out their swords and start to swing at you. So that is 4, 6, that's 7 dice on each of them. So first one. 1, 2.
Me or on Alonso?
We're gonna do Alonzo first.
Okay.
And that is actually the first one will actually, for some weird reason, possibly because he's weirded out, will actually miss completely. The second one, that's 7 dice, and I couldn't even do that.
Can I dodge this person?
No need. He missed you completely.
I'm unkillable.
Two,
It's like the next guy critical hits you and takes you out in one
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
You say that, but the other guy got 4 successes, so that's an extra 3 damage dice. Are you trying to are you going to try and defend yourself, or
Yeah,
are you going
yeah.
to? Yes.
I
All right. So
rolled.
your next action. If you're going to take you can either like fully commit to defense for this round, or you can, if you try and take another action, it's going to be a penalty.
I just want them to not kill me. Please don't kill me. I surrender.
All right. You can actually. Actually, no. Wait. He's already started the attack on this one. So, you can try. You can try dodging or blocking. Although blocking might not work. He's got a sword.
Yeah, let's not try to block the sword with my arm. Let's try to dodge it.
All right. That'd be dexterity athletics. You're
Oof.
looking at 4 successes.
All right. Oh, damn it. I put a space in there.
Oh, I wonder it was like
Yeah, sorry. 1. I soak 1.
Okay, so that's 3. So he gets only 3 extra dice on his attack roll instead of the would have been 4. So let's see. Broadsword, so that's 2, and that's 4. So that's 6. So he gets 3 extra dice. So that's 9. Oh, that's 9. That's 9 dice. Let's see. So 2. What's your stamina? 3, 4, 6,
2.
9. Okay. This is probably gonna hurt unless I roll absolute shit, which may happen. 1, 2. Okay. 6 successes. You roll your stamina for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh. 2 successes.
Okay, so that brings it down from 6 points of damage to 4 points of lethal damage.
Oh, good. I'm only mauled, not wounded. I'm sorry, wounded, not mauled.
All right. Yes. So the sword, as you try and dodge it, but unfortunately the soldier's already kind of started to swing and just swings right across your chest, piercing through. Well, you guys weren't wearing any sort of armor here, so Alonzo, it's your go. What you want to do now? As you
Stop
just kind of
killing me!
be hit.
You're killing me. I surrender.
You can make me another charisma empathy roll because I want to see where this goes.
This roll is cursed. I hate this roll. I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Mhm. Okay.
10
That's enough. So the soldiers stop with their attack stance, and then they immediately start chaining you up. Uh, so now it's time for those other three that are.
Now it's time for me to get my
yes.
ass kicked.
Yes, it's time for
If they
Lucen, sweetie.
can.
Well, you say that.
Probably can.
2, 4.
Although to be fair, you have survived 2 of them.
Yeah, but I rolled real bad on 1, and I got 3 instead of 2. So let's see. First one, 2 successes. So are you trying any sort of defensive, or since you've moved, it would? Yes, that would be. You're gonna take a penalty because you did attack. So that's 2. I got 2 successes on the first one. So you can go ahead and roll me whichever dexterity, whichever. Are you blocking or?
What are the rolls for blocking versus dodging?
Blocking is. Let me see. Blocking would be. It would be so. Blocking is dexterity brawl.
With or parrying, what about? That's what I would be like trying to parry. Maybe try to parry with the axe at half.
Parry would be dexterity melee.
Okay, that's what I'm going with then. 'Cause that's actually a
Okay.
pretty sizable dice pool. And what's the penalty again?
Well, +1 difficulty and -1 dice.
Just one die.
So instead of this normal 6, it'll be 7. But luckily, he only got
7, I
2
get 6.
successes.
2 successes.
Yes, and that is actually enough. So despite the fact that you're wielding an axe and he's wielding a sword, you do manage to parry the first one's blow. But there's another one, or 2 more, and let's see.
Do I get to try to parry them as well at greater penalties?
Yes, but greater penalty. And you're looking at 1, 2. I am rolling awesome shit today. 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna laugh. I end up like parrying all of their attacks.
That is only 1 success. Yes, so you can
I
try
could
and
do that.
you could
the
try.
penalty
You
this
could, +2 difficulty, -2 dice.
Okay.
So instead of 60, 10, it would be 4, and you're looking at a difficulty of 8.
Well, normal is 7, so I'm down to 5, or is it 2 more from what I was?
It's like your last roll was a -1 penalty. This time it's a -2.
Okay.
So,
Hey, that's a really good roll.
wow. 1, 2, 3.
I do
Okay,
not want to let these guys hurt me.
Yes. So, Lucen, you are just somehow a parry machine today. So you parried not only the first strike, but also the second with somehow with an axe somehow. And let's see. I'm going to roll the last one. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay, this is gonna be a lot harder this time.
Oh boy.
So that's a +3. So now your difficulty to parry this one would be instead of 8, it would be 9.
I'm
And
gonna
that's
spend
another.
I'm going to spend 1 point of willpower to at least give myself a chance to parry all of this.
Okay.
I've only got 4 dice to roll, so I gotta get all 4 successes plus my willpower. I did not. I got 1
nope.
success still.
1 success, so that instead of 5, it's 4 extra dice for him.
Better
So
than
that's
nothing.
so that's 6. That's 5. So that is 3 extra dice. So that's 2, 4. That's 6 and 8, 9. Okay, let's see what happens with this one.
I get soak roll, right?
Yes, you do. So go ahead and roll stamina while I calculate my successes for this one.
Hey, there's a good roll. 2, it looks like.
Yep. So that is instead of 4 lethal damage, that's only 2. As the last one, after the series of parries you just made, does manage to get through. So that's 2 points of lethal damage.
I am slightly hurt because I have that merit. I have that sturdy merit as well, which gives me an additional bruised health level. So I'm
All
now
right.
bruised.
So Lucen, as the only one still fighting, it's your turn now. I'm sorry for those that are like surrendering and having to wait right now.
Sorry. Hey, I'm dominated. I have no choice in this. I'm going to
He's
chop
got
at
a
the
point.
same guy I was hitting the first time.
All right.
So, instead of would it be possible to make this a strength melee roll, and I'm just like making a big overhead slash chop at him with a heavy axe?
Let me see.
If not,
I'll say
it's up to you.
I will count that as, let's see. I don't know why it's. I'll say I'll count it as. Yeah. Okay. Since this is a strength-based weapon, I'll say sure for this one. Well, actually, there is.
Well, it
yeah,
didn't
the
really
great
matter.
blow.
I did poorly with that attack. This one is probably not going to get through that armor.
Yeah. 1, 2. That's
One success.
actually just one success. Okay, yeah, and he's got a pretty big, substantial soak roll with that. Yep. Nope. So you do try and cleave through the armor, but this time you just hit straight armor. Don't manage to get anything through this time around.
Oh well.
And Religio's focused.
So now I'm gonna get beat on by soldiers again.
Yes. But before that, Sasha.
Oh.
Is that what he's going to do?
Oh, that's right. He's bleeding out on the floor.
Yeah, there's that. Yes, you are dominated. So technically, you have to fight despite the 5 penalties.
Bite their legs off.
If you're talking, I don't actually hear you. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I think she's. Yep.
But yes, he is bleeding on the floor. That's free action. But he is very hungry. He is going to go for the closest thing he can actually bite into.
Closest thing actually that you might be able to bite into would actually probably be Swava, who's chained. Who's chained and not wearing armor.
Well, he's kind of starving.
Yeah, but he is under the influence of he is under the influence of dominate to fight the soldier. So I'll say because of the dominate, you're gonna try and fight the soldier, not Swava.
All right. He's going to attempt to bite in between. What kind of armor are they wearing?
Metal. So it's like.
Yeah, I got that. But what kind? Like chainmail or? Because they're not running in here in full plate armor. That's not really feasible.
Yeah. I'll say chain. It's chainmail.
He is going to attempt to lift the chainmail and bite in.
That is going to give you a +2 difficulty, but you can try. In fact, you have a -5 modifier.
Yeah,
so you only will get like 1 dice.
Did you even get that?
Yeah, but if it's under 0, I'll give you 1.
Okay.
Which I'm assuming it's negative for you right now.
Well then, that did not work.
Yep, nope, nothing. So you do try and fight, but you're delirious and losing blood, and actually losing what little blood you still have, considering you were already drained dry today. Now it's Soldier's turn, who have chained up Alonso and everyone else, and are going to continue to beat up on Lucen.
You try. You literally only bruised me the first time. I'm gonna take a beating this time. I'm pretty sure. I doubt I'm gonna parry his. I doubt I'm gonna have as many successes, or they're gonna have as few.
So first one, 1, 2. First one is 4 successes.
Yeah, this is gonna be. Well,
So if you want to try and parry, you can. That's dexterity melee, but since you took an action, there will be a penalty.
Ugh. 0.
Okay, so you're not parrying anything. So I need you
At least
to
I got that
roll-
7 instead of a 6.
Yes.
If it had been a 6, I would have botched.
They get extra dice on their roll, so that's 6. Okay. So I am going to need you to roll stamina for me.
1.
That's 1 success. So that is 2 more points of lethal damage. What are you at right now?
Injured.
Okay. Next,
I only
next
have
one.
-1 penalty.
Next, in addition to the other penalties,
Right?
4, 5, 7. All right. So let's see
Is
the
that
next
gonna
one.
apply to the parry attempt roll?
Yes, because you're injured, trying to do it while injured.
Okay.
The other one is going to be that's 3 successes, so you can try parrying it because you have the other difficulties. That's those 2.
Oh, I got 2
uh,
successes, or 2 successes at the
3, actually. Yeah, yeah,
Should-
yeah.
I
Right.
should
So
have
2
been 8.
successes. Yeah, 2 successes. So that is still
Roll
not enough. It
10s
still
at
has
least.
1. He still gets 1 though, which means he doesn't get extra dice. But I think he really needs them. 4, 5, 6, 6 dice. And let's see, that is
There's my
1,
soak.
2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. So that is 5 more points of lethal damage, unless you can soak it.
I tried soaking there. 8, 6, 2. Whatever.
So that is 3 more points of lethal damage. So what
That
do
puts
you
me
have
down
right
to crippled.
now?
I'm still alive. I'm still awake.
I still got 1 more. I still.
I know. I'm really hoping I don't get killed here. I'm up now to only rolling 1 die to defend myself, though.
1, 2,
That's a 9 difficulty. That's great.
That's 3. That's 3 successes. So you can try to parry again with 1 die at 9 difficulty.
Come on, 10. Oh, 7.
Nope. So that is gonna be
I'm going down.
3 more points of lethal damage.
Yeah,
So on that note, as the soldiers continue to just like start stabbing at you, you lose consciousness. Sasha, unless you want to continue this, I'll say that you're too weak to resist too, so you get chained up as well, if that's okay.
I
I'll
last
let you want to keep
longer
going.
than everyone else.
I mean, I
So-
completely forgot that I could roll willpower for I forgot I could spend willpower for automatic successes.
Yeah.
I probably could have gotten some
So-
food last time.
We can skip ahead if you're okay with that, because you're not really in a position to resist anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yes. So they do chain. Lucen gives them a bit more trouble than they would like, but
I heard
for those-
somebody at least.
yes, those of you still conscious notice Verdurgio saying, "Wait, stop, stop! Try and keep as many alive as possible." And then after you're pacified, Verdurgio continues to insist that you guys all be kept alive. Eventually, Hardeslat does acquiesce, keeping you guys alive. The rest, Mariana, you guys don't know where she went, but the rest of the guests are all ruthlessly killed.
Ooh.
And let's see. Oh, and the curtain falls on you guys that are either surrendered or unconscious. All right. So they got all you guys. So the next thing, hang on one sec, gotta turn the page. All right. So you guys do wake up. Let me see. Try and yeah. So eventually you guys that are awake, and I will listen to this music. Oh, Ruben, you guys that are awake, they rush you out into one of those into a carriage similar to the one that you guys into actually the exact same type of carriage you guys were in before. the one with the heavy shutters on the walls. This time, for those of you that are still conscious, so definitely not Lucen or Sasha, those of you that are still conscious can see this. Redursio closes those shutters. He closes those heavy shutters. It's clear to you guys that they're specially crafted to allow not even a shred of daylight to penetrate within. And Redursio says to you guys that can hear him, I regret this journey will not be as comfortable as the first. So you guys are all shackled, and then inside the carriage with you, there are three of the soldiers that you guys saw before. They're not wearing their armor this time round, but each one of them, they all have 5-foot-long metal rods ending in sharply honed knives. And each one of them, quickly, so each one of them are pointed straight at you, those of you that are still able to move. They've chained you up and are holding those sticks toward you until they will not be blood unless they cause trouble. So you guys that are still awake, so Nico, Slava, and Alonzo, but barely Alonzo. Alonzo, they bleed you a little bit. They stab and bleed you a little bit just so you're groggy and can't resist. But you guys are going. But you guys can try and talk to the guards if you would like.
Where are
What's
we going?
happening?
Where are we going?
And one of the guards smirks and says, "Oh, you're going to our Lord Hardestas." And I feel like I'm saying that wrong. He wishes to have a conversation with you.
Oh no. Another one of these. Is anyone else hungry?
Very.
And then he says, to the guard in front of Alonzo says, "Quiet you," and stabs you again with the blade.
I'll give you money if you stop stabbing me.
I said quiet, and then he just continues with the stabbing.
Okay.
Are the other two going to be okay?
Oh, they'll be fine. They're fine for now. Our Lord still wishes to speak with you.
The letters were too good.
But what'd you say?
She's kind of like muttering about. I knew that letter was just too good.
So the journey is bumpy and hot, but most of you that are still in shock, able to move, you don't feel normal. You do notice things about you, like your heart's not beating, your body doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem normal. You're not breathing, and your heart isn't beating. But along this bumpy and hot journey, you guys eventually do arrive at a small, twisted fortress, clinging tenaciously to a steep hillside. And as the carriages pull up to the castle, the castle's rear, you guys are still disoriented or unconscious. Are eventually dragged out and briskly escorted inside by a dozen guards who have brightly blazing torches. You guys can't tell if it's night or day because you guys are groggy and not really able to tell. They're leading you briskly toward that castle. So does anyone try?
Am I
do
conscious
anything?
yet, or am I just being like dragged along unconscious?
They're dragging you. They're dragging you.
Huh?
You're being dragged.
Okay.
So, anyone try anything?
I've been stabbed too many times.
I feel like I'm the only person here that probably would try something, and I'm unconscious.
Yeah.
I am also unconscious, so
So once they bring you inside the castle, you're quickly escorted and/or dragged down a narrow, winding stairway leading into the deepest reaches of the structure. And you guys are placed in a large, airless cell strewn with moldering straw and near petrified feces. And they chain each of you to the wall. And after being chained up, you guys, those of you that are still conscious, will eventually wake up at around dawn. So as the morning progresses, you guys can see that as dawn as you hit dawn, those of you that are unconscious, Luce and Sasha, do wake up, and you guys notice there's a slim beam of sunlight knifing through the room's dusty air, and so it's far above your heads. But each of you has now, those of you that were unconscious have now waken up, so you can speak to each other if you wish.
Have I ever heard of anything like this in my occult knowledges?
Well, you can roll me intelligence occult if you would like.
I think that's one of my better rolls.
And do the same thing.
Yes, you may.
My character sheet isn't opening, but I'm fairly certain it's 7.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's not.
Intelligence occult. Yep,
Yeah.
it's 7.
7.
I would like to attempt this too. That is 4.
Oh, damn it.
How much of our health is recovered at this point?
Let me see.
It was only lethal. It wasn't aggravated.
Yes, I'll say that you guys aren't at full health. I'll say those of you that were beaten unconscious, like Lucen and Sasha, probably are sitting at hurt. I'll say.
Is it still lethal damage?
Wait,
Yes, it is.
I typed in the wrong fucking thing.
I still got I got a minus 1 health. Too bad.
How many boxes
Alright.
are we healing?
Up to hurt.
Oh,
We're
I'll say
hurt
up
right
to
now.
hurt.
Hurt. Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm guessing we're like chained up in this place. You said.
Yes, you're chained to the wall. You're each chained to the point where you're like hanging from the wall, or you're chained directly to the wall.
I would like to attempt to pull the chain, use my arms, and see if I can break the chains with my arms. Just try to pull and see if
All
I can
right.
get off of the wall.
We'll actually do we'll do Sasha and Nico. Actually, Nico,
You guys
you
do
don't dream. You don't dream that night, Nico. Instead, what you see is something else. You see a something that's a creature now that seems to circle between a young woman, a middle-aged woman, and an old woman. It doesn't say anything, but it just appears in front of you, and that's what you see as soon as you wake. You don't really sleep, but you see it. You see something different appear to you than you have it before. But let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 successes. 2, 3, 4. 3 successes for Nico. So, and Alonso has 2, 3, 1 success. So, Alonso, this is totally foreign to you. Nico and Sasha, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, 2, 4, and 1. So that's 3. Nico and Sasha, you've heard of something like this. It's told in whispers, but vampires, creatures that suck blood.
Would Nico probably think of that by its other Greek affiliation?
Probably yes.
Okay, then he's probably gonna refer to it like this. It's like he kind of looks to Sasha. Have you figured it out yet?
He'll look groggy because he was probably the last to wake up.
Okay.
And
Okay, yeah.
Well, he has the deep sleeper fall, so he would be the last to wake up. And he's like, yes, this is
Okay.
no, this is myth. This isn't real. This can't be.
Uh,
Why am I chained to a wall?
I guess we were the
You
last ones
were-
there,
You were kind of.
and you did also like try to fight them.
I mean, but y'all are chained. Why are we all chained to a wall?
They wish to speak. to us, They
They
said.
wish to speak with us, and
So-
considering that dinner
So
party,
we had
I
to be
have a-
chained to a wall for them to speak with us.
Nico just kind of looks exasperated, and it's like, I'm not going to answer every question that you have in regards to this. Just know we're chained to a wall. They're going to ask us questions. I think that constitutes for we're really not in a position to question why we need to be chained to a wall for them to question us.
I
How long
mean,
are you guys talking?
Master Giovanni didn't chain us to a wall.
Yeah, but this is a different crowd.
Bonnie tried to kill us.
Yes, but how do we know these
us.
people won't? They almost did kill you and I, apparently. Yes?
They haven't. See, here's the thing. Giovanni, we know, tried to kill us. These people might.
They did try to kill me and you, apparently.
If they tried to kill me, if they'd wanted to kill me, I would be dead. I'm not. So they
You
really-
did die, though. We all did.
I
We're
don't
re-
think this is heaven, and imagine
we-
hell would be a lot
True.
worse.
We've been turned into Rico Lactus, is what we've been turned into. The common tongue, those with fangs, those that drain the lifeblood, those literally. Do I have to go in? I'm not going to say all the names. There are way too many of them.
I don't know Drago.
Question: How
Yeah.
are you guys talking?
I always thought those were. I would, like I said, I'm gonna try to see if I can at least pull these chains out of the wall if possible.
So I would probably be talking at like normal level, if not maybe getting a little bit loud.
So-
Nico's just kind of talking in a very hushed tone. Honestly, he's not really raising his voice.
Yeah, I'd be.
So
fairly
Lucian, you
quiet.
can roll me. You can roll me. I think what would it be for that one? I think it would be strength athletics to try and pull the chains over the wall. Roll me that first, because then after she starts getting loud. let's see.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! Holy
I
shit!
have a specialty of powerful arms. Would that qualify since I'm trying to do this with my arms?
Yeah, okay. So 5, 10, so 7. Okay, so you did manage to jar. You managed to jar the chains loose enough not to get you all the way, but most of the way. But as Sasha says, the guards show up to see. Actually, you're actually making pretty good progress. Looks like you might get loose. But as soon as Suava starts talking loudly, the guards show up and they start saying, "Be quiet, or else we'll take the fire to you, you hell damn bloodsuckers." But then the guards see Lucin trying to escape, and they say, "Oh no!" They take a torch and immediately shove that torch into Lucin's belly, charring you for that's 1 level of aggravated damage.
Oh shit!
Thanks for speaking so loudly.
Could I
to get free.
could I try to use Legerdemain to steal the keys off of one of them while they're distracted?
You're restrained. You're very restrained. I think it's gonna be very hard.
Is that guy still stabbing me? Jeez, get off my back!
He's not stabbing you. He's stabbing Lucy.
He's stabbing me with a torch.
Yes, and Lucen, as you find that as that torch hits you, it burns to degree that you didn't think was possible. It just hurts far more than you would think regular fire would. And it chars you.
That is. Yeah, I've been burned before. This ain't normal.
Yes. And as they do that, they do readjust the chains and rechain Lucen back up. And then they leave and they say,
No, I can
make
do that.
make sure to stay quiet.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say under my breath, or kind of very quietly. No, I can do that, but probably best not to tempt fate again.
Yeah, and you guys can tell as long as you whisper and stay quiet, they shouldn't bother you.
That fire.
But you guys can
hurt a lot
continue
more
to
than
talk.
I've been
Yeah.
burned before. It didn't feel like that.
I think in the state that we're in, let's just say a lot of things have changed.
What state?
We died.
No blood?
We died.
No, I'm still here. We're all
Okay.
still here.
At this point, Nico's like, okay, I'm done talking.
I just,
I'm
I just,
done talking. Like,
I think he still believes in God or wants his forgiveness, and I don't think he realizes that that's not going to happen anymore.
there's gonna be a moment where Nico
That's
just
all
like,
an chair is, so.
Oh,
at this
Oh,
point,
hang on, I
Nico's just
forgot
kind of
to
like,
change.
I want to go home.
There it is.
yeah. At this point, Nico's just kind of like, everyone else is just talking and just giving their own little bits, and at this point, Nico's just staring at like the figure that appeared in front of him, and it's like, do you want to say something? Who are you?
It doesn't. It doesn't say anything right away, and I changed it back on pictures because I thought that I had one for it. It doesn't immediately say anything. It just it just looks straight at you, and it's just staring at you for a good like 30 or so minutes, and before it speaks, and what it finally does say is now you're finally worthy. You finally have the, we'll say, correct tools. Now learn how to use them before it disappears.
What do you mean?
Use what tools? And like, is Nico the only one who can see her?
Yeah,
Oh,
Nico
yeah.
is the only one who sees
So,
it.
so Nico is having this disembodied conversation. It's like, what tools? What are you talking about?
And the art.
Sasha will look.
Talking to himself.
Sasha will look over to Suavas like, is he talking to himself?
Something- I don't know how to describe it right now, but
I'm
I'm
it's not insane.
I'm feeling
Obviously.
something right now, and I don't know if it's a spirit or something else.
Uh-huh. Okay. Good for you.
Nico
think
now
that's
probably
the
ignores
weirdest.
everybody and just focuses on the spirit at this point.
As if that's the weirdest thing you've seen today.
What's the spirit saying to you?
It's I'm finally worthy, and I now have tools at my disposal, or I have the right ones. Now use them before they go away. I don't think it's talking about the cell. I think it's talking about the state I'm in. I think,
Chained
or
up
what we're all
to a
in.
wall?
Chains are tools, I guess.
And look how well that helped with you. Sorry.
As you guys are speaking,
Probably would've
that
worked.
sunbeam is creeping. That sunbeam is creeping in towards you guys, and for some reason, even though you'd never feared the sun before, you feel an uncanny fear looking at that sunbeam. And I actually would like each of you to make a courage roll for me.
Ooh, hoo, hoo.
Uh,
That's right.
How do you get a -1 success?
I don't know.
You got a 1.
Courage.
That's
2. Oh wait. Oh, you have
Oh.
to hit it in the thing.
Wow. Wait. 0 success. 5 courage.
Each of you, Lucen is overcome with that fear, but Alonso and Suava, you guys both start freaking out. like that.
No.
You can't explain it, but that sunlight absolutely is the scariest thing you can think of right now.
Is it- Get as far away from it as I can.
You can't move. You can't move.
Suava's literally trying to like despite the being changed, she's trying to like make herself smaller and get away from it. No.
Mm. Are you guys as afraid as the sun as we are?
Yeah,
No.
doing everything in my power to not completely freak out.
This isn't how I end. No.
Nope. Not afraid of anything.
He kind of just looks to the spirit and is just like, what tools can I use in this situation?
The spirit just shakes his head and says, in this current situation, there's not much you can do. Just play along, tell them whatever they wish to know, and then it dissipates.
Maybe we should be trying to find a way to break free and get out.
There's not much we can do if the fire to this one's belly is any indication. Any movement with the chains is not going to work. We're basically going to meet the fire belly thing over here, and I'd rather not be burned at the moment, especially with that sunlight creeping closer, because I have a very unsettling suspicion.
Sasha would just look. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
I have a very unsettling suspicion that if we're all in the state of Rikolakis that I think we're in, I don't think sunlight's going to be very kind to us.
Sasha will just look over to Suava with this really complex look on his face, like he's never seen her like really scared of anything. And he's just like, Suava, the fuck? Why are you
I don't.
so? Well, we're not going to. It's okay. They want to talk to us, right? Shush. Remember, they said they wanted to talk to us, right?
They only need a few mouths. They could probably spare us.
Sweetheart, no, they're gonna talk to us all, okay? So just, I know this is kind of redundant, but take a deep breath and just let it out, in and out.
That's what Nico's
He's
just gonna say.
He's just
Have you all
trying to.
noticed that and that's what Nico's probably just gonna say. Have any of you noticed that you've been breathing for the last several moments?
You're not helping. And he'll just keep trying to calm down Suava like he would his little 5-year-old.
We're all dead. We're all dead.
Unfortunately, the sounds of the freakout from Alonso and Suava caused the guards to come back again with the torches.
No.
And tell both of you, and they plunge it right into the belly of both Suava and Alonso. So that's a point. That's a level of aggravated damage for both of you as that fire burns. Tarmark into you and says, be quiet," as they do that and leave.
Like at some point, somebody's gonna frenzy.
Don't tempt him.
Don't tempt me. Let's do it again. Apply fire. And who else? And Alonso. Okay. So, it's up to you guys. Do you want me to move to the next scene, or do you want to continue speaking about your current condition right now.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
else is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nico's just kind of like, well, everyone's freaking out, and I'm gonna do what the spirit says. I'm gonna just play along.
I'm doing my best to calm myself down and that I'm at least pretend that I'm not afraid.
So, as the day goes on, and eventually that sunbeam does come closer to maybe about 5 feet from you guys, but then it fades and disappears. And then that happens around noon. But eventually, after a long day, and you can see at least from the small window that the moon has risen, and once that happens, the guy who was leading the troops, he's a tall, strapping man with dark hair and intense looking eyes. He strides smugly into the cell. Actually, he has his servants slam the door open as he strides smugly into the cell and takes a look at each of you, and he bows to each of you, ironically. Appearing to show the courtesy, but it's ironic courtesy. And he says to each of you, well, behold the grand conspirators. You'll not live to plot against your betters again. The punishment for your crime against the traditions of Cain is a slow, agonizing death by sunlight. But if you truthfully answer my questions, I can offer you a quick and painless death instead. A truly admirable offer, and one I suggest you accept.
What do you mean? We did nothing wrong.
That's funny. And then all of a sudden, Sasha, you feel a pain across your face as you're suddenly stabbed as hard as slaps you across the face with the back of his glove, a heavy gauntlet encrusted with razor sharp metal spikes. And then he says, "You conspirators are such pathetically amusing little liars."
You little bitch! I am not.
If we were these conspirators, would we not have fought more bravely and what back then?
Speak for yourself.
You were forced to do it, were you not?
I suppose.
And then he walks down the line over to Swava and says, well, it looks like your sire was a trifle overzealous, wasn't he?" You can still see the wounds on you, Swava.
That man had his fun. That is true.
Indeed, he
But I would-
did.
Hardly consider him a cider of sorts.
Perhaps you should have stood up to greet the sun this past morning and had done with it, eh?
She doesn't respond on that.
We were lured into a trap at Lord Giovanni's house. He invited all of us and many others to a dinner, and we were then the dinner. And then they killed us. But right before they did, you attacked, and they said that they should do something to us, use us as a distraction.
When he says the
And
name
then
of
as you
Giovanni,
say-
I spit on the floor.
As you say, Alonso, as you say that out of turn, he walks over to you like as soon as you're done speaking and gives you the same slap he gave to Sasha. Don't speak out of turn, conspirator.
Look, we are no conspirators. I just want to go home.
You don't think I'll let you conspirators leave here, do you? You're going to answer my questions.
But we have conspired against no one. If anyone, we will conspired against.
And then again, Sasha, you're talking back to him. He again continues with he again applies a second slap to you. And then he says, "Okay, fine. We'll have our interrogation. We'll begin our interrogations. But before then, he takes a look at Lucian and says, like he takes the gloved hand and grabs like Lucian's cheeks with it and says, and moves his head a little bit. You were quite a problem for our guards, weren't you?
Not enough of one, apparently. I was still taken prisoner.
A valiant effort, though." As he releases your face and walks over to Nico and says, "Oh, you." We'll see. So then he starts walking out of the cell and he says, and then he says, let's see, who do I wish to speak to first? Who should it be? And he says in a mocking tone, "Any volunteers?"
Why not me?
Fair enough. And then he has the guards take you, Nico, to a separate room, away from the others. Nico first. Nico, you find yourself in the middle of, and I will actually change the cell because you find yourself in what's clearly a torture chamber. And he chains you up to the wall, and in this room he's joined by several other people, but for you you're dazed and it's hard to tell. And then he says, let's see, first thing he has you chained to the wall, and let's see, techniques, and so let's see. So inside this room are several torture implements, an Iron Maiden, spikes in the wall, just your everyday torture implements in this time and era, Spanish Inquisition style torture elements. And also in the chamber, sitting in a small stool in the corner, you notice, Nico, is a wizened old woman in heavy skirts and shawls. You actually recognize this woman. It was the old woman in the Red Lamb who was with you that you guys noticed was sitting kind of in the corner of the room. And first thing he'll say is, he'll say, "You gain nothing. You tell me everything you know about the conspirators' plot and the identity of your fellow conspirators. What do you know about their plot? Tell me."
So, first question is, would I have remembered those names?
That's a good point. So you can roll me straight intelligence to see if you remember some of the names. Yes, you remember that. You remember that there were you may remember that your sires talked about someone named Japheth Cappadocius, and they said they wanted Hardislat to remain ignorant of something.
All right, so I take it, obviously, I know that the person in front of me who's asking the question is Hardistat, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He introduced himself as such.
Okay. So Nico's just going to be like, I just remember, would I remember my own sire's name?
Lord Mitroslav, yes.
Okay.
I would think you'd remember him after everything he told you.
Yeah, no, exactly. I remember something about Mieczysław, something about the others that were there, something about trying to keep you ignorant, and something along the lines of something to do with Cappadocius. They kept saying fall of Cappadocius. That's what I remember.
Conspiring against Cappadocius. Interesting. Tell me, who were the other conspirators?
But I remember the other conspirators based on the roll.
Give me more details of their plot. It would be for you. It would be kind of hard to tell. You can try and lie because you don't really know much about them.
I want to try lying at this point.
All right. What are you telling him?
I'll describe Mieczysław at length, and then I'll describe what Giovanni was at length because he made it very hard to not remember who he is. But then I'll start listing some of the physical descriptions of some of them too, and just the air that they carried themselves with.
All right. But as soon as you tell your lie, the old lady throws.
Wait, I wasn't trying to lie. I was trying to tell the truth.
Okay, I thought you said you were trying to lie. Okay.
No, I was trying to tell the truth, not a lie.
Okay. Nick tries to describe the others. Their and then not long after he says, well, it's good information, but there is something I think there's something that requires settling, shall we say. And Hardeslot snaps his or not snaps he claps his hands, and another man enters the chamber. Nico, one familiar to you, the one you were torturing back in the manse. And Hardeslot says, "You tortured one of my." He looks to you. He said, "You tortured one of my spies, witless fool." And then he asks the man, "Is this the vicious dog that harmed you?" And the man looks straight at you, and he says, looks at you with an expression of just pure hatred. Yes. And Hardeslot says, "Feel free to even the score, as it were." And he grabs the same kind of Morning Star that Nico used against him and starts to torture Nico with it.
You brought this on yourself.
Yes, and he begins torturing you. So he takes a Morning Star and just slowly over time, just slowly starting with your legs, just all over your body, just slowly stabbing you up, just slow. No, he's slowly stabbing and bleeding you. So I would actually like you to make me a conviction roll to not flip, because this is extreme amount of pain. All right. So you do manage to hold yourself steady through all this. But then as he kind of smirks and he says, "Oh, we'll have to try something else, shall we?" And then he takes a nearby fire poker and just starts stabbing you with it, at first in the stomach, similar to how the others were tortured. And that's going to be a point of aggravated damage for you.
Where do I put that?
And then that would, you put it the closest empty spot health level. So it'd be in a wounded health level.
I'm trying to read my sheet here. Where's my health tracker?
Primary. Let me see. So primary page down. Health.
Okay. Have slash marker X.
It's gonna be no. That's it's gonna be a hashtag or the
asterisk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In this case, it's like a hashtag.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I put it in there for you this time, but just to see so you can see how it looks.
Yep, I see it.
And then the pissed off man who's been tortured Nico continues to torture you for quite a long time before eventually he gets bored and says, after you've been thoroughly tortured, stabbed, and not maimed but really badly hurt, says to Hardest Spot, I feel the score's been settled and we're not going to get much more. You start spilling whatever it is he wanted. He everything you'd think he would want. But then he leaves you there and has his men fetch another. And then he takes you back. Yeah, towards Jimmy. Yeah, so he has you brought back to the cell, and next he will bring in. They'll bring in, say, Suava. Yes.
Shit.
I'll say, since it's getting late, almost 11, we can actually pause right there. What do you guys
Sounds good.
think?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right.